All right, good evening, council and guests. I would like to call this meeting to order. The purpose of the meeting is an application for draft plan of subdivision in Watford on Ontario Street. I'll remind all of council to please disclose of any pecuniary interests at the appropriate time. And we are live on YouTube at the link provided in the agenda. We are going to start the business. And sorry, I'm just trying to find, I have several different links here, so bear with me. So the public meeting is conducted by the Corporation of the County of Lambton to hear an application for approval of draft plan of subdivision under Section 51 of the Planning Act. The subject land is described as lots 206 to 210, Plan 6, and lots 34 to 37, Plan 9, Ontario Street, Township of Warwick. So we need an overview of the proposal by the applicant.
Actually, Your Worship, if I could, because this is a county application, the county will be, for lack of a better term, taking over the meeting from this point, because there's a couple of things that we have to go over that are required through this meeting process. So if you don't mind.
Appreciate that, Kenneth. You go right ahead.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Rombouts, and good evening to you and members of Warwick Council. Thank you for hosting us, even if it is in a virtual forum. I know I met Mayor Rombouts earlier this morning, but my name is Kenneth Vallance, and I'm the Manager of Planning and Development for the County of Lambton. Joining me on this call is Terry Drewsbury, who will be taking minutes and is our planning technician, and Philip Ruff, who is the planner for the Township of Warwick from the county. You've gone over some of the purpose for this evening, and we are holding this meeting in accordance with the requirements of the Ontario Planning Act, as there is a public meeting required for the subdivision process. I should note that the approving authority cannot render a decision on this application for 14 days following this meeting. Before we go too far into the meeting, just want to clarify the role of the county in the subdivision process. The Planning Act delegates the decision-making power for plans of subdivision in the town of Warwick to the county, and my role is I am the county subdivision approving authority. Anyone who speaks at this evening's meeting, sent in written letters, or who signs up to receive the notice of decision will have a right to appeal the decision of the approving authority. Anyone who has not signed up and wants to receive a copy of the notice of decision and does not plan to speak this evening will need to contact the County Planning Department no later than 9 a.m. tomorrow to be considered on our sign-up sheet. And you can do that by emailing planning@county-lambton.on.ca. And I'll repeat that address just before we finish up the business for this evening. I'll also note that notices of this application were sent to registered property owners listed in the provincial assessment database back in December. The town also posted the information on their website, and we are aware that some letters were returned by Canada Post, so we did hand deliver those letters that were returned from Canada Post to ensure that all of the notification requirements of the Planning Act and those timelines were met. Finally, just to explain how we'll do the meeting this evening, there'll be a slight change to the agenda order. We'll have Mr. Ruff present the staff recommendation or the staff overview. And then following that, we'll jump to the applicant, but there will be an opportunity for council to ask questions of the planner following his presentation, and then council can ask questions of the applicant. Then we'll go to the public portion of the meeting, where the public will have an opportunity to speak. Once we get through everybody in the public meeting, I'll check again if there are any further comments from the public, but once the public component is closed, there will be no further public submissions accepted. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Philip Ruff, who is the planner for the Township of Warwick, to do the staff presentation.
Okay, thank you, Ken. So just a bit of background, the applicant has submitted draft plan of subdivision, a proposed and develop a total of 19 lots. For single detached dwellings, the draft plan survey is included in the package. So in terms of official plan and zoning, Watford is designed as an open center under the County of Lambton official plan. The subject land is designated residential under the township official plan. The residential policies for Warwick encourages residential intensification in areas of existing development that have sufficient servicing capacity. The plan also calls for a range of housing to meet the needs of the population. So this area is, as it's residential, is designated for low density housing, not exceeding 20 units per hectare. The planned subdivision will have a density of 16.6 units per hectare. So it meets the density requirements. The property was recently rezoned to a site-specific residential R17 zone. This was done to permit a higher site coverage of 40%, whereas the standard site coverage within the residential 1 zones is only 30%. Based on the review of the applicant's planning rationale in their application and the policies, the provincial policy statements, staff are of the opinion that the application conforms to the appropriate policies and is supported by the planning documents. In terms of municipal services and roads, all these proposed parcels will have access either onto Erie Street, John Street, or Ontario Street. So no new roads are created. No traffic impact study was required for this application by either the township or by the county. In terms of servicing, the former property had services pretty much roughly around 28,000 liters per day. The proposed servicing for the new dwellings are between 14 to 17,000 liters per day. So it's under what was currently there, which was the former Watford school. There was a geotechnical study done, and it did contain a number of actions that should be undertaken during the construction of the subdivision. The owner will be required to enter into a subdivision agreement with the township just to finalize the servicing details and financial securities. So during the review process, there were a couple of comments received from the Conservation Authority, Enbridge Gas, and Lambton Public Health, and Lambton County Public Works, and their comments are included in the report, which I won't necessarily cover in this summary. Okay, the geotechnical, nope, sorry, I covered that one. Archaeological studies. So there was no archaeological assessment conducted. There is the assessment notes no archaeological resources were found on the property. No further assessment is required. There was environmental site assessments. There was a phase 1 and limited phase 2 studies completed. The phase 2 study identified fill materials were present in several locations, which contained building debris from when the old school was demolished that is unsuitable for use at the site as structural fill. So this fill will need to be removed as part of site preparation and site grading activities as pretty much at construction stage. So it's to ensure that the new buildings are constructed on competent subgrade soils. And yeah, no further environmental assessment work is required. And that's a summary of the report.
Thank you, Phil. I'll open the floor now to questions from members of council to staff on the staff information report, if there are any. I'm not seeing any, so we will come back to you, council, after the public hearing just to see if there's any further questions. I'll now turn it over to the applicant and their team if they wish to make a brief presentation or any comments. Go ahead, Mr. Knightley. Or Keatley, sorry.
Thank you, Worship and Mayor and staff. I'm speaking on behalf of the owner, Philip Kitely from MIG Engineering in Sarnia. Yeah, we assisted with the application, and Philip has pretty much gone through the summary of the reports that were submitted for review by the authority. I think the only things I can add is that we had been in contact with the utilities back in March last year, and I can confirm that all the utility companies, Brook Telephone, Enbridge Gas, and Blue Water Power, have no issues with providing services to the lots. They'll be doing detailed submissions during detailed design for us. And if there's any other questions, we did also carry out in December to address the initial comments received from the township's engineers of the sanitary and storm sewers abutting the site. All the sanitary sewers were found to be in good condition, with only some minor deficiencies, which we'll share with the township, but they would not affect use for the connection of these proposed lots. Storm sewers on John Street, of course, were recent, had adequate capacity. 2 storm sewers abutting on Ontario Street and Erie Street are old storm sewers that were not accessible by the cameras. And we are proposing to upgrade those storm sewers as part of this submission based on the preliminary designs that were submitted. So that's just for your information. And if you have any further questions of me, I'd be happy to address. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of council. Councillor White, I thought I saw your hand.
I know I put my hand up.
Oh, sorry, maybe it was you, Mayor Rombo. Sorry.
No problem. I'm just wondering about timelines as far as the builds of each home. Are they planning on doing everything all at once, or doing so many and seeing how they sell, or what is the planned timelines?
Talking to the client last week, he's very keen to move, obviously, with the preparation of the site and servicing, and obviously build the. I believe his intent is to service all the lots, so that we minimize disruption. And then obviously, as they sell lots on to builders, I believe he's also intending to look after selling lots and arranging, obviously, builders. I'm not sure that he's actually going to do building. I believe he intends to sell the lots for builders. And that was my discussion with him. So yes, the intent is to service all the lots to meet the conditions of the subdivision agreement, and do reinstatement of the roadway with new top coat paving after all the service cuts are made, and obviously the grading, the removal of the fill that was mentioned earlier, materials from the site, and then obviously all the site works to meet the subdivision agreement and the approved drawings when we get to that position. And I know he would like to get going this year while the market is still good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Rombo. Are there any other questions to the applicant from council? Okay, I'm not seeing any further comments at this time. So thank you, Mr. Keatley. We'll loop back with council for questions to you and to the planner after the public component of the meeting. So at this point, we will go into the public component. There's a few rules how we'll move forward. First of all, as we go through, each person will be given 5 minutes to make comments. If you wish to speak, I'd ask you to turn your camera on so that when I call for those who wish to speak, you can give a wave, then I can acknowledge you and start a list of who wishes to speak. If you change your mind and decide not to speak, there will be an opportunity. I'll check back with everybody again before we close the public hearing. And if you change your mind and do want to speak up, you are still welcome to do so. So if there are any members of the public that wish to speak, I'd ask you to turn your camera on and give a wave, and then I'll start acknowledging folks for an opportunity. I am not seeing any waves. Maybe some folks might not have a camera, so if you do need to unmute to do that, that's okay as well. But I'll ask again if there's anyone from the public that wishes to make any comments or speak. And just one last time, if there's any members of the public that wish to make any comments. Mr. Churchill, go ahead.
Thank you. I live kitty corner to this property, and I have to say I'm excited about that happening. I think it's great timing for our community, and we need to grow. And one of the ways to do that is approve the building of this subdivision, which will take away a bit of a piece of property that right now doesn't always get cut at the right time. And but it's a great piece of property, and I'm totally in favor of what the builder is wanting to do.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Churchill. Also, I'm just want to, I don't think that we need to have your address. I know my planning tech, Terry Dewsbury, is on the line. Terry, if you, do we need Mr. Churchill's address for the record, or? Sorry, I'm having one.
I'm happy to give it. I'm happy to give it, Ken.
Okay.
It's 298 John Street.
Great, thank you. Just in case, makes the minutes easier. Much appreciated. With that said, we've called 3 times. I don't hear or see anyone else indicating that they wish to speak. So I will thank everyone who has spoken, which is you, Mr. Churchill, and everyone for attending. I will now loop back to council to see if there are any further questions from council to staff or the applicant, just in case anything might have come up. I don't see anything at this point. Oh, Mayor Ramos, go ahead.
I'd just like to reiterate Mr. Churchill's comments and say that all of council, I believe, is excited about this new development. And I think the timing of it is perfect. We're seeing a lot of people that are wanting to get out of the city and have learned that they have a great opportunity in our beautiful little community to have a higher level of lifestyle for a lower cost. So we're excited about this new development. Please extend our excitement to the developer for us, and we look forward to seeing some new houses.
Thanks very much, Mayor Rumboats. I appreciate that. And with that, we will thank you and members of council for having us. We've now reached the end of tonight's public meeting. As I mentioned earlier, just since people joined in, the county cannot make a decision on this application for 14 days. And the county will take all of the comments and concerns expressed this evening into account as part of the decision-making process. And just once again to reiterate, if you want to receive a copy of the notice of decision, you need to email the county by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning via email, and our email is planning-lambton.on.ca. Anyone who has spoke will receive a copy of that notice, so you don't need to sign up. And we send the notice out within 15 days of making the decision as per the Planning Act. So this now closes the public meeting for this application. So I'll turn it back to you, Mayor Rombouts. The meeting is now yours. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ken, for joining us tonight. And we look forward to hearing the county's decision. Amanda, do we need to do bylaws?
Yes, Mayor Rumba, which I can read the resolution for you.
Thank you.
that bylaw number 11 of 2021 be read a first and second time.
That is moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried.
Actually, before we move on, I think Ken's still here. We did not pass did we pass a receive and file for the planning report? Did we need to do that for your purposes, Ken?
Not really. We just provide the report for information. If you wish to pass a motion, that's fine. We will note it. Terry's already gone, so at this point, because we've declared our part of the meeting finished, it won't appear in our minutes, but if you need to do a motion for you, go right ahead.
Okay. I think we'll be fine. Thank you for that clarification. And the second resolution will be that bylaw number 11 of 2021 be read a third time and finally passed.
That is moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. I'd like to thank the members of our public for joining us tonight. And we look forward to hearing any comments that you have in the future. And we just need to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Have a good night.